Mistake number one, booking too late. We almost didn't make it to Hobbiton. It would have been such a shame because it's one of the biggest attractions that we're looking forward to before the trip, and we almost failed to grab tickets. One thing you should know about Hobbiton is that these days, you can only explore it with a guide. So you must book a Hobbiton movie set tour. There are many ways to do it. You can join a day tour from Auckland or Rotorua, which already includes transfers, or if you prefer to drive or take a public bus on your own, you can just purchase a ticket. Most tours depart from the Shire's Rest, a cafe that serves as the gateway to Hobbiton. But when we tried to book, tickets were all sold out. This was 1 month before our target date. We knew it was popular, but we were waiting for everyone in the group to be granted a visa before we book. Thankfully, there are a few tours departing from Mata Mata Eyesight. We were a group of five: Jax, Ivan, Prisa, Vince, and me, Yosh. And by sheer luck, we were able to get the last five tickets. Talk about meant to be. So if you're planning to travel to New Zealand, don't wait too long before booking. Apply for a visa early so you could also finalize your bookings early. This is just one of the many mistakes we made while planning our New Zealand trip. And in this video, we'll share with you 11 more. Hey there, Tipiter! We are Vince and Josh. Before we begin, if you're new here, we consistently publish informative travel videos, so please show your support by subscribing to this channel, ringing the bell beside it, and choosing all so you won't miss any of our episodes. If you're watching this on Facebook, join our 1 million strong community by liking and following this page too. Vince and I recently traveled to New Zealand, and yes, the Kiwis are delightfully friendly and the sights were so breathtaking. But despite its chill and laid-back atmosphere, New Zealand can also humble a traveler real quick, especially if it's your first time. So before you pack your bags and say "Kiara" to the adventure of a lifetime, continue watching this video featuring our list of travel mistakes to avoid. Mistake number 2, winging the visa application. If you're required to secure a visa prior to arrival in New Zealand, like us, I have good news and bad news. The good news is it's actually pretty easy to apply for a visitor visa. The list of requirements isn't too long, and the whole process, 100% of it, is done online. The bad news is just because it's easy to apply doesn't mean it's easy to be granted a visa. This is not just a formality or simple e-visas given by other less strict countries. They really do evaluate applications meticulously, so you can't just wing it. For example, when you look at the list of supporting documents, only 3 are tagged as required: passport, photo, and itinerary. You can technically submit an application with just those 3 attachments, but that doesn't mean you'll get approved. Of course, it is recommended that you upload other documents that visa officers can use to assess your application, especially evidence of genuine intent or rootedness, and evidence of funds if you declare you're shouldering the cost of the trip yourself. It is important that you paint a full picture of your background and your plans in New Zealand and prove that you intend to leave the country and not overstay. I know people who have been denied a New Zealand visa, so please take your application seriously. You don't want a refusal in your record. Speaking of denied, mistake number 3, not reapplying when rejected. Let's say your application is declined and you are refused a visa. What now? Can you appeal or ask for reconsideration? No, if you applied outside New Zealand, and I'm assuming most of you who are watching this video are not based in New Zealand. Here's an excerpt from a refusal letter that my friend received. So it states that there is no right of appeal or reconsideration against a decision on a temporary entry class visa application made outside of New Zealand. But that doesn't mean there's nothing else you can do. What you can do is reapply. This means you'll need to start a new application all over again and pay another visa fee. But before you reapply, make sure you have new supporting documents to add that could address the reasons for refusal. Because when you get denied a visa, the refusal letter actually lists out the reasons for rejection. They're not very specific, but it will give you an idea on how else you could better your chances if you reapply. If you'll be submitting the exact same pile of documents, you might just be wasting another $100. If you're currently in New Zealand, yes, you can appeal as long as you make the request within 14 days. We have a full video about applying for a New Zealand visa. Just search this channel, or if you'd rather read than watch, or you just want an easy reference, we have an article version of it. Just visit www.thepoortraveler.net/new-zealand-visa. Please note that what I share should not be taken as official immigration advice. Think of me as just a friend sharing my experience and the experiences of my friends. Check out the official New Zealand website or consult an immigration advisor for official advice or assistance. Mistake number 4, failing to declare risk items upon entry. Agriculture and tourism are two of New Zealand's biggest industries, and the government does everything they can to protect the environment and ensure biosecurity. That's why they are very strict when it comes to what enters their border. It is important that you're familiar with items that are allowed, restricted, and downright prohibited, and follow their policies so you won't run into any problem at the airport. You must also be aware of the items that you must declare. Before your trip to New Zealand, you will be required to accomplish the New Zealand Traveler Declaration Form, which has 2 sections specifically about what you're bringing into the country. The first is biosecurity, and you have to declare if you carry in your hand luggage or check-in luggage items like food, cooked, uncooked, fresh, preserved, packaged, or dried, including chocolates, potato chips, crackers. You have to declare all those. Even instant noodles, coffee, tea, soft drinks, you have to declare. Animals or animal products, including meat, dairy products, honey, feathers, shells, plants or plant products, like fruits, flowers, seeds, bamboo or straw, biological products like animal medicines, soil, and equipment used with animals, plants, or water, including for gardening, beekeeping, water sports, or diving activities, and outdoor gear, which has been used for outdoor activities like footwear, tents, camping, golf, or sports equipment. So, if you're bringing any of those I mentioned, you have to declare them. You'll also be asked if you're carrying more than the allowed amount of restricted items like medicine and alcohol. I was carrying chocolates and other food products, so I just declared them. And at the airport, the border officers just asked what items I declared and directed me to the right lane. It was pretty smooth, I'm guessing because it's just chocolates and snacks. So if it's meant to be declared, declare them. You can get fined if you fail to do so. Mistake number 5, underestimating New Zealand's size and distances. When you're looking at a map, it's easy to see New Zealand as a group of small islands in the far corner of the Pacific, especially when the ginormous Australia is in the same frame. It just looks snack-sized compared to its neighbor, which is a full continent, but don't assume New Zealand is small. New Zealand's land area is bigger than the UK and just a bit smaller than the Philippines. If you superimpose it on Europe, you'll find that it stretches from Denmark all the way to the south of France. So no, it will be impractical to assume that it only takes a few days to explore or that you can see it all in a week. Same goes for distances. Just because Milford Sound appears to be sitting pretty next to Queenstown doesn't mean it only takes a quick drive. To get there from Queenstown, the route goes around the mountains and takes almost 4 hours, excluding stops. And trust me, you will make multiple stops because the route is just so scenic. Waitomo Caves, which is often a favorite destination from Rotorua or Auckland, is actually 2 to 2.5 hours away. Even Hobbiton is not just outside Auckland. It's 2 hours from the city center too. This is why it's important to build a strategic and solid itinerary, especially if you're driving. And while we're in the topic of driving, mistake number 6, driving on the wrong side of the road. Driving in a foreign country is often unnerving, but while in theory, driving in New Zealand should be easy because most roads are paved and there are plenty of signs everywhere, There are a few things you need to remember before you decide to take the wheel. First, New Zealand drives on the left side of the road, and if you're used to driving on the right, like where I'm from, it's pretty disorienting. It takes some getting used to. It's not just the position of the wheel inside the vehicle or the position of the vehicle on the road. You'll have to unlearn certain things, especially when taking a turn at intersections. I also noticed that New Zealand's roads deeper into the countryside are usually just two lane and narrow, but vehicles move fast here. And instead of stoplights, there are a lot of roundabouts, which is great in minimizing traffic jams. But know that when you're using Waze or Google Maps, you'll be counting exits a lot. It's not difficult, but it just takes some getting used to, like I said. It's best to have a navigator or a co-pilot riding shotgun so you can focus on the driving and there's someone to remind you in case you get confused. Also, gas stations or petrol stations are few and far between, especially when driving between cities. So, when you see one, grab the chance and fill up because the next one might be many, many, many miles away. When we started posting about our New Zealand trip on Instagram, we received a lot of questions about whether it is possible to explore the country even if you don't know how to drive. And the answer is yes. They say that the best way to explore New Zealand is to rent a vehicle and drive, and I agree. It's also cost efficient if you're a group, but not everyone is able or willing to drive. For that, you can take public transportation like intercity buses. But make sure you sync your itinerary with the available bus journeys because for some routes, the options are very limited. Some non-drivers would take the bus to another city and then take a day tour of another attraction. Example, a common practice is to stay in Auckland, then go on a day trip of Hobbiton and then return to Auckland. Then the next day, take the bus to Rotorua. But there are one-way tours available. For instance, there is an Auckland Hobbiton Rotorua one-way tour. This way, once you're done with Auckland, this tour can pick you up in the city, make a stop in Hobbiton so you could explore and join a tour, and then after, drop you off at your next hotel in Rotorua. It's like a tour and transfer in one. And yes, you can bring your luggage with you. We got to try the Christchurch Queenstown one-way tour. The shuttle picked us up at our hotel in Christchurch along with our bags, and along the way, we stopped at various tourist spots like Lake Tekapo and Hooker Valley in the shadows of Mount Cook before terminating in Queenstown. These one-way tours are available on Klook. Whether you're booking tours or hotels, redeem our exclusive discount voucher by visiting www.thepoortraveler.net/Klook or use our promo code ThePoorTravelerKlook for up to 300 pesos off. These codes may change in the future, so check the description or pinned comment for the updated codes and links. We have an Agoda promo code too, and that's Agoda TPP for 10% off. Mistake number 8, skipping sunscreen. New Zealand's climate is pretty mild and it can still get cool even in summer months. So you might think, sunscreen? Nah, I'm good. And by lunchtime, boom! Your face is redder than a blushing bride. This happened to me. Well, sort of. I apply sunscreen before leaving the hotel, but I usually forget to reapply in the middle of the day. The chilly atmosphere can lull you into a false sense of safety, but the thing is, New Zealand has one of the highest UV levels on the planet, especially under the crisp, clear summer skies. So don't forget to bring sunscreen with plenty of SPF and actually use it. And reapply and reapply. And pack a hat while you're at it too. Mistake number 9, missing the operating hours. If you're used to staying out until late night, know that in many destinations in New Zealand, some establishments close much earlier, especially in smaller towns. For example, in Rotorua and even in Queenstown, most cafes tend to close at around 3 or 4 p.m., some as early as 2 p.m. Starbucks in Rotorua closes at 5 p.m. most days and Starbucks Queenstown at 6 p.m. That's not to say that all cafes are like that. You can still find some that remain open at night, but it will be harder. But don't worry, bars and malls tend to be open much later than cafes. This isn't unique to New Zealand though. We also notice this in some cities in Australia. Could be something to do with the wages and work-life balance. Some attractions also close early. Tepia in Rotorua is only open until 4 p.m. and Wayotapu until 4:30 p.m., understandably. Christchurch Gondola only operates until 5 p.m. and the last ride down is at 5:30 p.m. We also noticed that car rental companies close early with the exception of airport branches. Europcar in Auckland City Centre closes at 4 p.m. on weekdays and 12 noon on weekends. And in some cities, some branches are closed on Sundays. So make sure to check operating hours when building your itinerary. Mistake number 10, paying for water. Tap water in most places in New Zealand is safe to drink, at least in all the destinations we visited. So you don't really need to spend money on bottled water at the convenience store or supermarket, and it's not cheap. If you have a refillable water bottle with you, you can just fill it up at your hotel or whenever you can. It's just a matter of taste sometimes. If you're joining full-day tours like Milford Sound or Lake Tekapo and Hookers Valley, there's a big chance they will be providing a bottle of water too. Mistake number 11, underestimating prices. New Zealand is expensive. My local friends always tell me that the cost of living here is pretty high, and so is the cost of travel, it turned out. The accommodation rates alone could eat up a big chunk of your budget. There's a reason Auckland is the only stop where we stayed at a proper full-service hotel. In Rotorua, Christchurch, and Queenstown, we spent our nights at a hostel primarily because of the cost. This is how much we paid for a private room for two per night. Just look at how much we paid per night for our Queenstown room. This was already the cheapest centrally located property we found at the time. The cheapest, and this room does not have its own toilet and bath. We still had a great stay though. We actually loved all these hotels. We're probably gonna create a separate review of all these lodging options, so if you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell beside it, and select all so you're always updated. For a meal, prepare to shell out around 15 to 20 NZ dollars, roughly 9 to 12 US dollars at fast food, and 25 to 40 NZ dollars for a main course at proper full-service restaurants. Higher for more premium dishes like steaks or ribs. But one thing I noticed is that a serving is usually huge, even when they say it's good for just one person. Even their burgers here are ginormous. Since we were a group, we usually just share the food and split the bill, although some restaurants have one meal per person policy. One of the reasons we like staying at hostels is they usually have kitchens where you can prepare your own food. It's especially useful for long-term travelers. Eating out every day may not be sustainable. If budgeting gets a little tight, just buy something at a supermarket or convenience store and eat at the hostel. Mistake number 12, not staying long enough. This is one thing we're guilty of. One of the first things we said when we got home from our New Zealand trip was, "That was quick." We spent 10 days thinking it was long enough, but we really felt like we should have extended our trip. And we would have if we had more moolah to spend. New Zealand isn't really a stopover kind of destination. It's the main event, the headliner, the Beyonce of your itinerary. And much like Beyonce, she deserves your time and money. The best destinations in New Zealand are spread out, so the drives are long. They're worth it, but they're long. And there's a lot to do in every destination. Queenstown alone can also easily fill a week-long itinerary. We also regretted not spending more days in Christchurch. We just didn't expect it to be so full of charm. And because we wanted to see a lot, we tumbled into the pitfall of treating our trip as a list of sites to tick. But when we were there, we found New Zealand to be a place to slow down, linger, and absorb the surroundings. So give yourself at least 2 weeks if you can, if you want to explore both islands without spiraling into an Amazing Race episode. More if you can swing it. So that's all for now. If you feel like we missed other common mistakes that travelers make in New Zealand, let us know in the comment section below, or if you have questions, just comment or tag us on your Instagram stories and X or Twitter posts. You can also follow us there and even on TikTok. That's all for now. Remember, plan smart, travel safe, and make every trip Worth it.